The 2020 Kenya Certificate of Primary Examinations have begun, with candidates across the country sitting for their mathematics paper. The first of 7 expected to be administered in 3 days. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, who oversaw the release of the exam papers in Kiambu County early on Monday, had stated that security of the pupils is of concern, while warning against cheating. The exams, which are normally done at the end of the year, are taking place 5 months later, after the 2020 tests were postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The 2020 KCPE class has begun their journey to the next step in their academic life, albeit under different circumstances, born out of a global pandemic which continues to ravage the world. By 6 a.m. Monday, Ministry of Education officials were already at the designated exam collection centers across the country to begin collection of the day's exam papers.
Everybody in this republic to pray for our children, because this is the very first time in the history of this country that our children are going to face an examination after having been away from class for 7 months.
According to the Kenya National Examinations Council, 1,191,725 candidates will be expected to sit the examinations in 28,467 KCPE examination centers. The ministry says that those centers affected by flooding, insecurity or closure will be hosted in other schools or government institutions. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has assured parents that candidates who are unable to access their registered centers will be allowed to sit the exams in other stations.
Those people who took money from the children, and we find that the children were not registered, we have decided as a government that the children must take the exam. Even though under protest, they must take the exam and they must not be penalized.
Examination centers which were affected by floods, especially in Baringo County, have been moved to neighboring schools, while those that have less than 15 candidates have been merged with those closest to them. Some private schools had registered candidates but closed down due to the economic hardships occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. With the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic currently hitting the country, the ministry says that all MOH guidelines will be strictly followed in the examination centers, where NEC insists on a seating arrangement of 1.22 meters between candidates. Vigilators will be expected to supervise between 15 to 40 candidates, with everyone participating in administration of the tests required to wear face masks. In January, the Kenya National Examinations Council asked sub-county directors of education to identify public institutions to host such candidates. To prevent cheating, Professor Magoha instructed centre managers and invigilators to ensure that all candidates remove their face masks and display their insides before they are allowed to wear them back.
The examination is being secured. The integrity of the examination process shall remain unquestionable. Each centre manager has 2 policemen whose job is to ensure that that examination is kept with the utmost integrity.
Professor Magoha has promised the national examinations will be conducted and marked with a human face, owing to the special circumstances occasioned by COVID-19 that caused closure of schools for nearly a year. This is to ensure the candidates will not be disadvantaged. Meanwhile, the Teachers Service Commission CEO Nancy Macharia has called on teachers to take up the COVID-19 vaccine to enable them discharge their duties as frontline workers.
Please take advantage of this vaccine which is being given to you as frontline workers.
Speaking in Kisumu while overseeing the opening of the KCPE exam container Monday, Macharia urged all teachers to observe the health protocols while on duty during the national exams rollout to avert the spread of the novel coronavirus. According to the TSC boss, over 272,000 teachers will be taking part in the examinations in various capacities. Leila Mohammed, NTV.